What's up, y'all, and welcome back to my channel. So there is a new Halloween game that's coming out in 2026 made by Gun and Illfonic. That's right, Gun and Illfonic. I'm a little bit late to the party, but I did see that IGN posted the Halloween trailer on their YouTube channel. If you guys want to go and check that out yourselves, that's where we're gonna watch it right now. So let's get into it. Compass, Illfonic, Further Front, and Gun. Malek Akkad presents. I probably said that name completely wrong.
A quiet town, just like hundreds of other small towns all across America. A town just like yours.
Okay.
But it was here.
It looks pretty good so far. John Carpenter.
1963. No motive.
I love Halloween. I love autumn.
warning,
So I love the atmosphere and the ambience.
Just senseless death. I met him 15 years ago. I thought there was hope that he could.
Is that a dead person hanging out of the window?
But what I met was not.
Look at him just hanging out there. I shouldn't laugh. I'm sorry.
Perhaps not even human.
Oh.
15 years later,
Here we go.
He returned home.
Da-da.
But what happened that night was only the
Da-da.
beginning.
You better run.
It wasn't just a killing spree, it was a reckoning.
I like how she just barged into that man's house and his door was just open. That guy was, he's like, he just walks. Look at
You can't
him.
reason with him. You can't kill
Wow.
the boogeyman.
He looks really good. Like, the graphics look really good. Halloween, a single player and multiplayer horror experience coming in 2026. Wow, so it's going to be a single player and multiplayer. Very, very interesting. I actually like that it's going to be single player and multiplayer. Doesn't hurt to have both, in my opinion. All right, we're going to rewatch it just one more time. This time I won't talk too much.
A quiet town, just like hundreds of other small towns all
Final
across
gameplay
America.
footage not represented.
A town just
course.
like yours. But it was here on October 31st, 1963. No motive, no warning, no provocation, just senseless death.
I love the
I met
music.
him 15 years ago.
It's really good.
I thought there was hope that he could be reached. But what I met was not a child. No emotion. Perhaps not even human. 15 years later, he returned home. But what happened that night was only the beginning. It wasn't just a killing spree, it was a reckoning.
Whoa, calm down, okay?
He was going to reach it. Come on,
What was that?
we have to go.
No.
I still can't get over that guy just walking and
You
he's
can't
screaming
stop
at
him.
the same time.
You can't reason with him. You can't kill the boogeyman.
Guys, Michael looks really good. The details, they look really good. Wow. Wow. All right, guys. Well, a Halloween game is coming in 2026. So if you guys want to go watch the trailer on your own time, you can go to IGN's YouTube channel. That's where I watched it right now. Now I'm going to get into an article made by Bloody Disgusting. You guys can go follow them on Twitter if you'd like. They're also, I believe they are a podcast channel about horror. And so they made an article with Illfonic. They had a sit-down interview and they were discussing the Halloween game. Halloween, the game's exclusive interview, everything you need to know about the upcoming game made by Harrison Abbott. I mean, shoot. If I could go back in time and tell my 18-year-old self that he was going to one day be working with a John Carpenter, he'd never believe it. As Illfonic's Jared Garrettson takes stock of his pinch me circumstances, we can't help but think about how many people must envy the developer's situation. Because unless they've got a pretty major gap in their viewing history, the director of The Thing and The Fog is all guaranteed to have played a foundational role in any horror fan's developing love affair with scary movies. Indeed, you'd be hard-pressed to find someone with even the vaguest bit of interest in this genre who doesn't have at least one Carpenter flick locked into their top 20. Alas, for most of us, that's where our relationship with the master filmmaker ends. No matter how much we might idolize him, we've come to terms with the depressing fact that we'll never be able to rub shoulders with the genius behind They Live, and our incredulous adolescent selves would be quite right to doubt any claims to the contrary. That's not the case for Jarrett though, who in his dubious time travel scenario would be able to gloat to his 18-year-old self that he does indeed have a direct line to his childhood hero. And not only that, but he is collaborating with him on a brand new adaptation of one of his most enduring works in the form of Halloween, the game. And we have a nice little picture of Michael in the living room posing. As Chief Creative Officer for Illfonic, this isn't the first time a cherished property has been entrusted in Jared's care. Under his helmsmanship, the studio, known primarily for its asymmetrical multiplayer offerings, has been given the keys to practically all your favorite IPs. In Ghostbusters Spirits Unleashed, they gave us the chance to don those iconic exterminator jumpsuits and cross the streams to catch player-controlled specters. With Friday the 13th, the game, they had us role-playing as either Jason Voorhees or one of the amorous camp counselors at his mercy. With Predator Hunting Grounds, they afforded us the perfect opportunity to yell, "Get to the chopper," at our teammates. And with last year's Killer Clowns from Outer Space, they let us encase our friends in cotton candy cocoons and slowly digest their gelatinized remains. All good fun. Reflecting on these dream assignments, Garrettson admits it's been a real privilege to get to work on these franchises that mean so much to us, and my wish list is honestly getting a little thin at this point. From time to time, we do have to turn down IPs that don't grab us for whatever reason, but for the most part, we've always had people on our team who are deeply enthusiastic about each other and every license that comes our way. That being said, he acknowledges that this new project is the real crown jewel for Illfonic. After all, Halloween is about as significant a legacy as you can get in the horror space. And if there was ever to be a Mount Rushmore for slasher villains, then the remorseless Michael Myers would surely deserve pride of place atop that sculpture. Suffice it to say, they're very excited about what they're cooking up here. In anticipation of the title's announcement at Gamescom 2025, Garrettson and his colleague Jordan Mathewson, lead designer at Illfonic, sat down with Bloody Disgusting for an exclusive interview about Halloween the game. Among other things, we spoke about all the different ways they're planning to shake up the asymmetrical multiplayer formula here, their decision to finally take a proper stab at a solo campaign, pun not intended, and of course, that much touted I almost said tooted, I don't know how to say that, Carpenter connection. Here's everything we learned. Death has come to your little town, and we have a picture here of Michael stalking a police car, typical Michael. Before we launched into the discussion, we were given a sneak peek of the reveal trailer that has since made its public debut at Gamescom. Watch below, as is typical for this kind of early stage marketing. It doesn't illuminate a great deal about the title and instead takes the form of a pre-rendered cinematic that only gives you a flavor of what to expect. Opening with that famous Halloween synthesizer stinger before then transitioning into a Laurie Strode's more lyrical piano theme, the short teaser introduces us to a quiet suburban street in the sleepy town of Haddonfield, Illinois. It's October 31st, 1978, and all residents are getting ready for a night of spooky festivities when suddenly a distressed woman bursts onto the scene, dashing from house to house, feverishly knocking on doors and trying to alert anyone who will listen to an impending danger. Given the poor girl's emotional distress, these warnings aren't particularly lucid and fall on deaf ears, yet we're able to discern what's got her soul rattled, thanks to some characteristically portentous voiceover supplied by none other than Dr. Samuel Loomis, portrayed here by a pretty reasonable Donald Pleasance impersonator. Going into his usual hysterical spiel about the boogeyman, he doesn't prove to be any especially empathetic or rational mental health professional. Instead, he rants, as he so often does, about his patient's inhuman traits, his penchant for senseless death, and the pure malevolence that is etched into his very soul. All of which seems like it must go against some code of conduct or ethical standards for a shrink, but hey, what do I know? Maybe attitudes were just different in the 70s. Anyway, the good doctor carries on raving about reckonings and unstoppable monsters. Are we sure he's not one in need of psychiatric care? While our female lead continues in vain to try to sound the alarm about Michael. I'm sorry, that was funny. Unfortunately, her pleas go ignored and the blissfully ignorant locals all stay indoors, a fatal error. Typical. Typical horror movie scenario. That's when we hear a blood-curdling scream from just off camera, followed by the unmistakable sounds of savage butchery. This commotion is soon displaced by Michael Myers' telltale muffled breathing, and then, right on cue, the shape himself walks into frame. Evil has arrived just as foretold. Terror elves, you can see a picture here of our cute little Michael here stalking a survivor. It's an appetite-whetting trailer for sure, yet as we said, it doesn't really give you a whole lot to go on. As you can glean in that the game is set in 1978, that it's got Michael Myers in it, and that John Carpenter's attached in some capacity. Perhaps that ought to be enough for now, but we were greedy and so pressed Gerritsen and Mathewson for more details. In response, the developers reasoned that the title is best understood as existing in two distinct halves, with the first component taking form of that signature asymmetrical multiplayer that we've come to expect from Illfonic. Talking about this, Mathewson said, "If you refer back to what we've done in the past, there's definitely a lot of the same DNA here in Halloween the game." Agreeing with his colleague, Gerritsen added, "Illfonic has been around for many decades. The majority of the team has been with us since Friday the 13th, and they all stuck around for Predator, Ghostbusters, and Killer Clowns. So we've cultivated a real knowledge base and expertise when it comes to making these types of games. Not to mention, we're familiar with the technology." While on one hand, the track record should instill confidence that Illfonic are the right team for the job, it does also flag a potential cause for concern. That being said, the fact that a frankly staggering amount of these asymmetrical titles have been released since Friday the 13th, debuted in 2017, and the premise could therefore be at risk of growing a little stale. Indeed, the genre has become rather crowded of late, with competitors like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, My Heart, not much of a competitor soon, Home Sweet Home Online, and Evil Dead the Game all throwing their proverbial hats into the ring. To his credit, the threat of market saturation is a problem that Gerritsen is keenly aware of. Horror multiplayer has definitely gone through a lot of permutations in recent years, he concedes. If we take everyone else out of the equation for a moment and just talk about ourselves, then you've got F-13, Predator, Ghostbusters, and Killer Clowns to take into account. That makes Halloween the fifth iteration of this idea from us alone, so we appreciate that there is a need to innovate. We don't want to just make the same thing over and over again, retaining the same mechanics and only switching out locations or killers to tie into whatever IP we're adapting. We want to meaningfully evolve. My vision is that if someone owns all of Illfonic's games, then they'll bounce between them based on their present mood, because each of them should have a unique feel. One day you might be in the mood for the chaos of Killer Clowns, the next you might fancy something slower and more methodical like Halloween, which led us nicely into discussing exactly what the fresh spin will be for Halloween the game. Mathewson took over for his breakdown, elaborating, "We've tried to emphasize stealth on both sides of the killer-survivor dynamic. For Michael, it's about stalking. His mechanics revolve around quietly observing in the shadows and bidding your time to get the best possible kills. You see, there will be NPCs inhabiting the map, living their lives and going about their various October 31st traditions. Your job is to pick them off." Very fun. Meanwhile, the other players will be sneaking around and trying to alert those civilians to your presence, just like in the teaser trailer we showed. Plus, we've got the cops and Dr. Loomis adding an extra wrinkle to proceedings, so if the Michael player isn't performing well, he'll have to deal with the extra resistance, and there are a lot of interesting situations that can arise from that. Expanding upon this point, Gerritsen said, "Most other asymmetrical horror games are about escaping, but that's not the ultimate objective for the survivor players here. Instead, you're trying to stop Michael's rampage and save the town. You can eventually end the match and spectate, but the goal is always more complicated than merely run around, loot, and escape. We think that makes it feel new and interesting." I can respect that. Beyond just these rule changes, Halloween the game also evolves upon Illfonic's previous outings by introducing a big technical upgrade behind the scenes. Moving to Unreal Engine 5 has given us a huge visual boost, Gerritsen enthuses. You can see it most obviously with Michael's mask. I did notice that, which was a huge priority for us. It's such an important part of the franchise iconography, and we had to get it perfect. There's been so many iterations of that prop over the years across multiple different movies, but they've all degraded, and so there was nothing available for us to laser scan. That meant we had to design it from scratch, and we ended up obsessing over every last microscopic detail. I love the dedication. If we were making this 4 or 5 years ago, we would have had fewer polygons and less dynamic lighting at our disposal, but Unreal 5 was a real asset for us. At the end product looked super impressive. I'm very proud of how the mask and the rest of the game is shaping up. Solo gamers are entitled to a good scare as well. Thank you. as a solo player myself, I can appreciate that they take solo players into consideration. And we also have another picture of Michael here staring out the window. Asymmetrical multiplayer is obviously Illfonic's bread and butter, but the second half of the Halloween package is arguably even more intriguing, as it promises to be the studio's most substantial solo offering to date. In all fairness, the team has already dipped their toes into these waters with Friday the 13th's virtual cabin and its Hitman-style challenges that were added post-launch, but they've never done anything quite this intensive before. Not only will there be an offline substitute for multiplayer matches, giving you the opportunity to practice with AI bots, but there will also be a bona fide story campaign. Wow, guys, there's gonna be a story campaign. Cool. Developed in collaboration with Pollard Studio, who brought us Karma: The Dark World earlier this year, this mode will thrust you into the coveralls of the Shape and have you facing off against the townspeople of Haddonfield, the police, and of course that pesky busybody Dr. Loomis. Illfonic were cagey about revealing too much more at this juncture, but Mathewson is confident that the campaign will be a treat for fans of the film series. It's such a fun mode, he exclaimed. You'll get to have a very controlled Halloween experience that will hopefully drive even more people towards the multiplayer. We can't wait to show it off in the near future. Finally, we had to ask about that enticing Hollywood name drop in the trailer. Illfonic tends to consult the original creators of any material they're adapting. In the past, they've secured the input of the Chiodo brothers for Killer Clowns and enlisted Tom Savini to help devise the grisly kill animations for Friday the 13th. Still, this is John freaking Carpenter we're talking about, a legendary master of his craft and a gaming enthusiast to boot. Surely, it must have been a little intimidating trying to earn his blessing. Actually, the cool thing was we didn't have to explain a bunch of concepts to him, Garrettson replied, because he is a gamer. He knows his stuff already and has specifically mentioned what he wants to see from us in terms of ideas. That is so cool that he's a gamer. So he knows, like he has that vision. So far, that working relationship has been amazing. The same goes for our interactions with Malek Akkad, I don't know if I said that right, son of original Halloween producer Mustafa Akkad, associate producer of many of the franchise's later installments and current IP rights holder. Echoing these sentiments, Mathewson added, "This is one of those opportunities that comes along once in a lifetime. The stars truly aligned to give us this level of access to the franchise's lineage, and it's helped us assemble an experience that is very true to that iconic 1978 film." On that note, you might notice that the publicity for Halloween the Game refers to Carpenter's movie in isolation, without ever broaching about the subjects of his sequels, requels, reboots, or remakes. That's because his tie-in is based exclusively on the first film alone, effectively disregarding the rest of the series' tangled continuity. So don't go expecting Corey Cunningham loadouts, Silver Shamrock cosmetics, or Rob Zombie Easter eggs popping up here. It's original recipe Halloween all the way. Explaining the rationale behind this, Garrettson clarified, it's about making the cleanest possible version of the universe. We think of it like that first film is a central train station from which a story goes off in all these crazy directions. I mean, name a movie franchise with 13 films where the continuity is coherent. But keeping it focused on the original film made the most sense to us. The lore is more straightforward, Michael is still young and spry, it just works. However, we're leaving it open to connect to other train stations later on down the line if we want to. We'll see what happens. I really do like that idea that they want to keep it fresh. Start off fresh, start off new, and then branch out from there. Of course, having the narrative situated in the year 1978 might return Michael to his prime, but he's never been one for intense cardio anyway, even in his youth. Compared to Leatherface, Freddy, or even Jason, his walking pace is decidedly glacial. Curious as to how that characteristic will translate into gameplay without being incredibly frustrating for the person controlling the boogeyman, we asked the devs outright if they have a mitigation in place to stop survivors easily outpacing their would-be killer. Garrettson played it coy, only going so far as to indicate that the team does have something up their sleeve. There's a very Illfonic way of making that make sense. Let's just say that. We've come up with some unique mechanics that Malek and crew are very happy about. You'll have to watch this space to find the specifics. What do you guys think? What do you guys think Michael's ability is going to be? There's keywords. There's a very Illfonic way of making that make sense. I wonder. We're naturally keen to learn more about that system, but based on what we've heard so far, it's not like we needed any more reasons to keep a close eye on this one. For fans of horror games and horror cinema alike, it's looking very promising indeed. And hey, if it's good enough for Carpenter, then it's good enough for us. And we have a nice Halloween poster right here with Michael in the center. And we have the victims or survivors right here down the street in the neighborhood. So that's it for this article. If you guys want to follow the Halloween page on Twitter, it is Halloween TVG. And there is a link that's right there on their description that you can click on. It's going to take you to the Halloween website, which looks like this. Halloween, it's got everybody that's involved in this project. Illfonic, Compass, Gun, Further Front. Wishlist on Steam, PlayStation, Xbox, I believe Xbox Series S and X, and Epic. And yeah. Oh, I was going to say like, I thought I was seeing stuff because I was moving my mouse and like I saw the little head moving from like the corner of my eye and I'm like, that is so cool. Look, his head is moving. Oh, it only moves side to side, not up and down. All right. That's cute. This is cute. So yeah, this is their website. And oh, whoa, I did not mean to scroll that far. You guys can visit this website if you want, and it's got their latest updates. Welcome to Haddonfield, constructing the ultimate horror sandbox, tackling single and multiplayer modes in Halloween. And what else is here? Let's see, scroll down. The Boogeyman is out. Team up in a 1v4 asymmetrical horror showdown on everyone's favorite night of the year. Choose to save the quiet town of Haddonfield from bloodshed as a hero of Haddonfield, or stalk and terrorize the residents as Michael Myers. So it's gonna be a 1v4. I was kind of expecting more players, but then I just remember that the article that they did say that there's going to be like NPCs, like the townspeople. There's going to be some NPCs doing their thing, and then there's going to be the actual survivor players, like I guess trying to warn everybody, like, hey, Michael's coming, whatever. That makes sense. 1v4. That is really cool though. But yeah, again, if you guys want to follow their socials, they have their socials right here. Follow and subscribe on X, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Reddit, and TikTok. If you guys want to go and follow the Halloween game. And that's pretty much it, guys. What do you guys think? Like, it's crazy that they're working on a Halloween game. And are we happy with Gun? No. I'm not happy with Gun. Do we agree with what they did? Absolutely not. I don't either. However, I absolutely love Illfonic. I love their takes on games and just their thought process on creating these games, especially even more just after reading this article with their interview. And I think just because Illfonic is in it, I think it's going to be a really great game. And Illfonic does not disappoint. They have, I haven't played their other games like Ghostbusters or anything like that, but I have played Killer Clowns. Killer Clowns is fun. It's even more fun with friends. It's a blast. Like, it's definitely an asymmetrical game, but it's not like that serious. It doesn't have too much of a serious tone, like Texas Chainsaw, for example. Killer Clowns it's a really fun game. They did an amazing job with that. And so I don't doubt that they're going to do an even more amazing job with Halloween either. And they also did say that they don't want to keep making the same types of games. They want to improve and do something different. And in the article, they did say that Unreal 5 helped them with that, and that they were very picky about Michael's mask and getting it perfect, and they want to start from scratch. And I can respect that. I love the dedication that they have and the passion that they have for any project that they make. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. Are you guys going to play Halloween? Are you going to get it? Or are you don't want to even touch any more asymmetrical horror games? I can completely understand that as well. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments, how you guys feel about this. And thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.